During the build-up phase, Arsenal deployed a three-man base using the keeper and the inverted left back alongside Partey to form a double pivot. As Madrid pressed in a narrow 4-4-2 shape, it was compact in the middle, and the easy progression route was through the flanks as Madrid's wide midfielder can be overloaded by Odegaard dropping on the right. But this progression route was relatively easy to defend as Madrid can reorganize into their low block, and the only threat was from the individual brilliance of Saka versus Alaba. Thus Arsenal started to create constant overloads everywhere. When played wide, Odegaard could drop to create a 2v1 against Bellingham in the space between the lines, which was created by dragging the front too high using the back three. As one central midfielder is deep, inverted left back compensates for his absence, and Arsenal bypassed the whole press using Myles Skelly, who acted as the midfielder. Arsenal was using bounce passes into the inverted left back to make Madrid's press narrow. Then they could make a wide back three using Partey so that centre backs could be free as Madrid's front two is narrow. This forces the right winger to jump, and Arsenal could progress to the flanks in a more efficient way as the right winger is dragged out of position. Myles Skelly played a key role in occupying the central zones. Arsenal dragged Madrid's front two using their back three and manipulated their movements to open up passing lanes to Myles Skelly, who was free between the lines as Arsenal pinned their midfield line deep with half-space occupants. The idea of pinning the midfield line vacated the central zones, and the players were brilliant to find those short diagonal balls by their disguised movements. Myles Skelly often became the spare man in the midfield as Madrid's midfielders had other players to mark. This made the progression into the final third easier. Even when Madrid tried to stay very compact, restricting access to Myles Skelly, he didn't move outside of the block, rather stayed inside, and he was then found by passes from outside to inside. This made him receive freely behind the first line of press, and Madrid were helpless. The compact Madrid block was stretched vertically by back passes, and this forced Madrid's front two to move high, leaving space between the lines. With poor pressing angles from Vinicius, the penetration was easy, and Camavinga was pinned deep by dropping striker. This forced Valverde to jump out of his position, disrupting their defensive structure. Arsenal thus progressed using the dropping striker, and it resulted in their third goal. Merino's dropping movement created an additional overload against Madrid's double pivot. Therefore, Arsenal used those bounce passes to penetrate the first line of pressure and forced Madrid deep. This overload could be further exaggerated by either Partey or Myles Skelly joining them, and this will create additional passing angles to find runners into the space. This half-space runs from Rice was a constant theme as Valverde was often dragged wide, creating that gap between him and Asensio for Rice to run into. With almost 5 or 6 players in the midfield, Arsenal found it easy to circulate the ball against Madrid's passive press. With constant ball circulation, they were forced to drop deep in almost every occasion, and Arsenal could manipulate their wide players using overloads and counter movements. Arsenal has been playing this style of fluid positional football under Arteta and has enjoyed great success even against compact defensive teams. So it was comparatively easy for Arteta's Arsenal to bypass a poorly drilled Real Madrid block.